Boardroom. I hope everybody can hear me. Um, you know what it's like. I always say it's always very difficult knowing if you can hear me. So please wave at me if you can hear me, so I know that you can hear me. Um, yes, okay, I can see you waving at me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my models, people in the fashion industry. It's me, Shirley Yabadi, Mr. Mahogany. And this is the Model Boardroom. And we're going to be talking about model contracts and everything you need to know. So you're going to come on live, or you can type your questions. I know that I've seen Wari. I don't know if Anthony is here yet. I'm hoping that Anthony is here. Wari, is Anthony around? Let me know. From Mahogany Models. So we're going to be telling you everything that is. It's your session, so I need your questions for you to tell me what it is that you want to ask me about contracts. So the Model Boardroom is a weekly interactive talk show that's brought to you by Mahogany Model Management. And today we're talking about modeling contracts. So please let your questions start coming in. Anything you need to know, because I've seen a lot of people just sign up and enter contracts and they have no idea what they're signing to. And then a year down the line, or when they get their first job, they realize that they're not making any money. So I need you to let me know everything that you ask me your questions about that. So just in case, as a brief overview about Mahogany Model Management. Mahogany Model Management is the modeling arm of Mahogany International, and we recruit models from all over the world, not just in Nigeria, and we place them in top shows, top commercials, top adverts, top everything around the world. So we are considered to be one of the biggest modeling agencies in Africa. This show is primarily going to focus on everything modeling, and we will be answering any questions that you have about the modeling industry. Yeah, it will be an interactive show, so please, it's about you. I need your questions, guys. Start firing them in. I haven't started seeing any questions yet, so please start firing in your questions. Oh, this thing is not moving. Sorry, so many people have joined. I don't know what's been happening, but I wasn't seeing it. So I've got my team on. I'm not sure if Anthony's here. Wari, can you let me know? Anthony, are you here, please? I want to get started. I need all of you with me. So let's go. So what's my first question? We're talking about modeling contracts. Anybody that's signed to a modeling agency, or anybody that does a job with a commercial organization or for a designer should have a contract. So there's one-off contracts that you might get with a designer or with a commercial company to do a job. And there's also modeling contracts that you sign up with when you join an agency. So if anybody's got a question, please let me know what your question is. I think we have Tay Olu who wants to ask us a question. So we're going to go live with Tay Olu in a few seconds. Sorry, is it? I'm not sure. Anyway, hopefully what we call TFP, which is time for print. Yes, time for print, or TFP. That means the photographer gives his time. He uses you, take pictures of you, and in return, he gives you free photographs. Yeah, that's TFP. So you're both gaining something from each other. So if that is the case, then there's no charge. But if a photographer wants to book you, whether it's first time, 100 times later, then you are able to charge him. But that will be a mutual agreement between yourself. But normally, if you want to use the photographer for a shoot, then he should be charging you for it because you're taking up his time. I'm sure I saw my bookers. I thought they were coming on. Let's see if my bookers are coming on. If they're not coming on, let me take another question, which was from somebody else gave me a question. Sorry. Right. Temi Lola says, does a model independently sign a contract, or is a professional recommended to help? This is an individual decision. You tend to find that modeling contracts, Temilola, are very much standard. What I mean by that is that if you go from one agency to another, whether you're in the UK or you're in Nigeria or in Ethiopia, they are pretty much the same. There isn't too much. There might be some slight variations to them, wasn't too much. But it's all about your comfort zone. If you don't feel comfortable and you think you want somebody to check the contract, feel free, contact a solicitor, let them check it. But I will tell you this, it's very unlikely that an agency, if it's a modeling agency, is going to change the terms of the contract because they're pretty much standard. So you just might need to bear that in mind and just decide if it's worth spending that extra money to get somebody to check the contract, which is going to be stated. But if there is a paragraph that looks you're not sure about, it's always important that you do get someone to check that paragraph and be sure that you're okay with it. Ask questions about it. Hi, what's your name and what's your question, please?
Yes, my name is Oshie. I'm known as Don Fiesta and publisher Fiesta Magazine.
Hi.
I'm based in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to Mahogany Models.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming. You're based in the UK, right?
We're based in the UK. We're also based in the Gambia, and we're based in Nigeria. But I'm currently in Nigeria.
Okay, because I remember that name way back in the UK.
That's right.
Mahogany.
That's right.
Well done. Thanks for keeping it up till this moment. It's been a long time.
Thank you.
Well, I just have because I work with models. I have a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Which is published in Nigeria, UK, and the United States. I just have a message for the models.
Okay.
I know this is a bad time for the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad time for the industry because usually it takes physical presence to be able to work. All right? But I think models should adopt, they should be digitally inclined. All right? In today's world, any business that cannot be digitalized, before you know it, is going to go off the market. Right? Mm-hmm. People must be able to keep themselves up to date with digital options.
Okay.
To everything. Right? I work in the customer service field, and I'm at home right now. About 2 months ago, I never knew I'll ever receive calls and talk to customers from home. And we're set up in a way that now I can talk to my customers from all over the United States without even leaving my home.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished my shift. So people must be prepared for things to come. I'll start with scouting for jobs. For independent models, should research and find out where the platforms where they can showcase themselves, where they can be exposed to possible scouts and clients. Right? They should also avail themselves of the opportunities of being able to get interviewed and casted for roles without going anywhere physically.
Okay.
They should have Zoom. They should have Skype. They should have all these platforms where they can be interviewed for roles.
That's right.
Because if somebody wants to scout you in America, for example, they're going to ask you to go on Zoom. You don't even know what Zoom is. You are living in the past. Coronavirus has done a lot of damage, but it has also awakened our minds, our consciousness about the alternative means of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to encourage all the models not to, down tools. Avail yourselves of the opportunity and the benefits of the digital options that are available, the platforms, databases, websites, the emails, download all the apps, use your phone. You cannot have access to photographers. Try to use the editing facilities, update your portfolio, even without leaving your home. You can change the background, you can edit, you can communicate, create apps where all these things can happen. So my take is just to enlighten models all over the world to take advantage of the opportunities available and the options available. And another thing I want to say is that I'm coming up with the summer edition of my magazine. If there's any model watching, they can just send pictures or profile. I'll promote them for free. Put them in the magazine. Maybe the world can see them through that platform. I've been doing that before. But I'm just using this platform to say that.
Can you put your details in the comment so that people can get your DM or your email address? Type it in the comments so that models that want to get in touch with you can definitely do that. Okay. I mean,
Um,
I think in the comment section, just type up your details and stuff. I mean, models. What you have been told then is really very important. Things have changed, guys. So you need to make sure you're up to date with all your social media apps. You're also up to date with all your Zoom, WhatsApp, video. There's so many different things, platforms are out there. We've been using them. My team uses them all the time. So please make sure that guys, you're using them. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this, guys. This was
Sir,
all the way
before
from.
I go, I want to
Okay,
commend you once again for a job well done. You've been
thank
serving
you,
this industry for as long as I remember. Back
thank
in
you.
the UK, 2005,
Yes,
you
that's
were
right.
top notch, and you're still doing it greatly. I really commend you. Well
Thank you.
done for keeping it up.
I really,
Thank you, and have a good day.
you too. I
Yeah, bye.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. That was
You're welcome, sir.
all the way from the United States of America. This is an international program, guys. You don't know who's seeing you where. All right. So blessing, Akunwane asks, what is the least amount of pay that a mahogany model can get? Well, it's not just about mahogany models. It's about any agency. The least amount of pay that you can get is whatever is the least that a client wants to pay, and more importantly, that you are ready to accept. So sometimes you have some people that will come to you and say, listen, guys, I don't have money, but it's a high profile job. You're going to get onto television. You're going to be all over the place. I can give you 5K and can give you 10K. It's then for you to decide, do you want to accept that money or not? Because there's some jobs that you don't get paid much money, but the profiling can be really, really good for you. So it's something that you might want to consider. The girl with sauce says, what are things I should pay attention to when signing a contract? That's a very general question, but I'll give you some of the highlights you should look at. How long is the contract for? So in other words, are you tied into a 2-year, 3-year contract? How can you get out of the contract? So what are the terms? So if you wanted to leave the agencies, what are the terms? What are the penalties? How do you get paid? What's the maximum amount of time? Most agencies will put that they have up to 3 months to pay you. And they also put things in there like, should we not get money from the client, you will not get paid. So you need to be aware of that. Okay. So when you start screaming and shouting at your agency that they haven't paid you, they'll just refer you to the relevant paragraph and say, guys, sorry, you see what it says there. Another thing is, what are the deductions that are going to be made? Every model that signs to an agency, there might be some deductions. Some will say you have to do a portfolio with them. Some might say that you have to do your Z cards with them. Some might say that you have to pay to go onto the website. So you need to find out what the specific deductions are. Will they deduct from you, for instance, now if they send, if you're going for a casting, you don't know where you're going, and you ask for the booker to follow you. Will there be booker fees attached to that? So these are the sort of things that you have to look at. What does it work in terms of, is the agency you're signing with, are they a mother agency agency or not? A lot of you don't know what a mother agency contract is or what that means for someone to say that they're your mother agency. So these are all the sort of things that you have to look at. The Melanie says, how does a freelance model draft a contract for designers for commercial jobs? That's a little bit difficult. I normally ask that what I normally say to models is that the person that is giving you the job is the person that should give you the contract. And then when they give you the contract, you should then say, I don't like this term, amend this term, this is not right. So when you do jobs with independents like that, the key things that you need to look at, guys, is your image rights. I hope everybody understands what image rights are. Okay, these are very essential because if you could be signing away your image rights, and if you sign away your image rights, that's it. You will not get paid for it. So they can go and put it on billboards in Times Square, in any places like that, and you will not get paid for it. So let them see what the contracts are, see what your image rights are. I know in places like Africa, a lot of places you do not get royalty. But if you're abroad in London, you need to make sure that you've checked on what your royalty payments are like. Is there a buyout? That's very important. How much is the buyout? Is it a buyout for the UK? Is it a buyout for Europe? Is it a buyout for Asia, Africa? Is it a worldwide buyout? How many years is the term of the buyout? There's so many things you need to look at. Guys, if you give me questions, please try and make them as specific as possible. Don't make them too general so that you can get your specific answers. Somebody like Taye Lolu says, I don't really have much experience about modeling, so I don't know if any agency will be able to sign me. Well, the only way you don't need to have experience to be a model. You don't need to have experience to get signed. We are looking for new faces all the day. We take on people that may have never, ever walked before in their life. If you've got the right face, you've got the right look, you've got the potential, guys, we'll sign you. You don't need experience to be a model. We would teach you. We would turn you into a supermodel. I know how many models that are in this business now and can testify it, and there's some of them on this Instagram live that will tell you that I trained them. They had never walked before. Their first job was with me or with an event that I did. And now they're experienced models. They're working abroad. They're working in different parts of the world. So please don't worry about whether you have experience or you don't have experience. Please keep the questions coming. I think I've answered Melanie's questions. Sorry. What was the next question? Do mahogany models take commercial models? Yes, we've had this question before. We do take commercial models now. I mean, Anthony, that is on the chat here, I know I've seen him, who's our head booker. Send him a DM. We're taking on commercial models. I hope people understand the difference between a runway model and a commercial model. Runway models tend to do a lot of these fashion shows. You see them walking the catwalk at New York, at Paris, London, Lagos, Banjul, South Africa, wherever. Commercial models, you tend to see them on billboards, editorials in magazines, digital billboards, posters, those sort of things, TV commercials. They tend to be more commercial models. And there's a lot of money in commercial modeling. So guys, don't ignore it. Shades of FA said, what do you mean by buyout? Okay, so very good question. I'm surprised that you're the only one that has asked me this, because a lot of you don't know what a buyout is. Basically, what a buyout is this. When you are signed up for a job, okay, we agree a fee with you to take that picture of you, all right? So we take the picture, we say that we will pay you £10,000, 1 million naira. That is what you get paid to give your time to do the job. However, imagine I'm Fashion Finest Africa. I shoot you for a job, Ife, and I now want to use your pictures in China, for example. Or I want to use your pictures in Nigeria. And I want to use it on websites. I want to use it on TV. I want to use it on billboards, all right, in these different regions. I have to pay you. Yeah? So what I want to do, as opposed to paying you for each billboard or for each country I go into separately each time, I will now say to you that, okay, I paid you 1 million to do the job. I paid you £10,000 to do the job. I now want to give you a 2-year buyout to allow me to use these images in Europe. For that 2-year buyout, so that you don't come to me again, I'm now going to give you £50,000. And you sign away your rights so that I can use it for, and I would have, in the buyout, I will state exactly what I'm using it for. Yes? And in that buyout, for that 2-year period, I can use it in Europe. If I've said for website, I've got to be specific what I'm using it for. I cannot say, do a buyout for website, pay you for that, and the next minute you see me on TV, because you can sue me. All right, so that is what a buyout is. I'm hoping that I've explained that properly. Basically, when you do buyouts, this is where all these supermodels and models really make their money. Like I said, I can pay you £1,000 to do the job, but a 2-year buyout worldwide could cost me £50,000 easily. All right? That's where models make their money. They don't make their money in the job. The job is pretty much standard. The cost is standard, but it's on the buyout. All right? So, guys, if you still need more questions about the buyout, please come back to me and ask me that. What age do you think is a cutoff? Is that what age the cutoff as a model? There's some models. I mean, Naomi Campbell's still modeling now, and she's going into her 40s. All right? There's no real cutoff, but generally speaking, the average lifespan, sorry, for a model is anything from 15 to 24. That is the average lifespan. By the time you start getting to 23, 24, unless you're already a supermodel and you look really hot, your chances of making it are very, very slim. And they say, what are the basic steps to take when going into modeling? Please, guys, I need more specific questions. That's too general. I could just talk about that forever, and in particular as we're talking about contracting. So I want you be specific about your questions, guys, so that you can really learn from it. Sir, can you sign me? Well, send us a DM or email. Anthony will put the details or send a DM to at mahogany underscore models, and we'll take a look at you. And if we like you, we will sign you. The Melanie says, how do we discuss image rights and buyouts with the client? Thank you. That's a really good question. All right. In Africa, we don't like to discuss buyouts. I'm going to be upfront with you. It's really something that we don't like to do. All we want to do, we believe that, excuse me, we believe that if we pay you for the job, we own your image rights. It is not the case. All right? So you now have to find that balance when you talk to a client and say, guys, where are you going to use my image? So before you do the job, you ask them, where are you going to use my image? And then we say, we're going to use it X, Y, Z, and Z. I'm going to say, how long do you want to use the image for? And they're going to say 2 years. And I'm going to say, okay, how much are you going to pay me to use my image for your 2 years in these places? What is the buyout you're going to give me? All right? And you negotiate. Some might say 200, some might say thousands. It varies from person to person. Of course, a buyout with a small local designer is not going to be the same as a buyout with Nike. Guys, let's get real. All right? It's not going to be the same. So you need to negotiate that. Now, the problem is, like I said earlier, in Africa in particular, we don't like to do buyouts. So how do you manage that? So the situation is that if they don't like to do buyouts, the only way around it may be that you have to get as much money in a one-off as you can. But if it's abroad, if you're in America, if you're in the UK, Italy, Paris, and they want to do that, they will do a buyout with you. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so don't stress about that. But if I haven't answered your question, Melanie, properly, or you've got a bit more you want to ask me, please ask me about that. Could we send, Just Naya says, could we send a DM for modding? Yes, you can. Definitely do that. Is Wari and Anthony here? Please, these are the questions that you guys should be answering. And Wari, are you here, please? I'm just 5'5". Can I get scouted? Yes, you can get scouted, but the type of modeling you do will be very restricted. It may not be commercial modeling. Age cutoff, I've answered that before. Please don't just put age cutoff question mark. I'm not going to answer questions like that. Guys, answer me proper questions. Type out the question in full so that everybody knows what you're talking about, and I can give you the correct answer. So please, Wumis, I think it is, please answer full question about age cutoff, and I will answer your question without a doubt. Okay. Anthony, you've answered them. What else? Other questions I'm looking for? Shades of Ife says, what's the right stipulated time for a model to sign a contract with an agency that they just joined? There's no stipulated time. If the agency likes you, you've been given a contract, you like the terms and conditions, sign. Simple as that. Sign. Don't waste your time. Just sign. Okay? That's my suggestion. So there's no time, because with agencies, we can be very fickle. And what I mean by that is that if we give you a contract to sign, and 4 weeks later you still haven't signed it, and you bring it to us, I tell you, sorry, we've changed our mind. Okay? I spoke about what a buyout is before. I don't want to go into it again in too much detail. Why? Can you just put a little bit of the notes of what I said about a buyout a buyout again, just some brief points, and so that people can know what a buyout is. If you don't know what it is, again, if it Wire, tell me so that I can do it again. All right. Shades of Ife says, what do you mean by get a one-off money? Okay, so what I mean by one-off money is one-off money is whereby you go for a job, Ife, and you come to like Fashion Finance or Morgan International, and we say, right, to do our show, we're going to pay you 30,000. All right, and you go. That's 30,000. You've carried your money and you've gone. That's what I mean by a one-off buyout. However, if you do Fashion Finance Africa, and then I want to use your pictures all around the world, then I will say to you, I want to use your image rights. So therefore, I'm going to say for 2 years, for the worldwide buyout, I'm going to give you an extra 10,000 naira, for instance. That is what you call a buyout. So for those 2 years, nobody can come to me and ask me for a penny, and I can use your image in the places that I stipulated in the buyout contract. So in the buyout contract, it will state, I want to use it for website, I want to use it for posters and banners, I want to use it for television, I want to use it on social media, whatever it is, I will stipulate it, and then I have the rights, once I've paid you your money, to use it wherever I like. Okay? So what will happen, like for a buyout, all right? For example, if it's a one-off contract, like I was talking about earlier, if my normal fee is normally 1,000 for you to do a photo shoot, because I know I want to use it everywhere and I'm not going to do a buyout, I might say, okay, instead of paying £1,000, I'll just give you £6,000 and go away. All right? That tends to be the case in Africa where we don't like to do buyouts. Okay, so just bear that in mind. The girl with the source says, why is it so hard to get signed to a modeling agency? Why is it so hard to become Dangote? Why is it so hard to go and buy that Chanel bag that you want to get? Because life is not easy. Also because in modeling agencies, we have a lot of choice. Whoops, I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, guys. We have a lot of choice. So that means that we can't take everybody that comes to us. All right. In Mahogany Models, for example, I think we have something like about 50, 60 models worldwide. That's a lot of models. We can't take 1,000. And models are coming to us every day. So if we get something like about 20, 30 applications a day, out of those 20, 30 applications, we may only take on maybe one model. That's how tough it is to get into an agency. All right? We can send out our models to all the top agencies around the world. If we're lucky, in a month, maybe one girl might be signed and one guy might be signed. So unfortunately, there's not enough agencies, there's not enough work, and there are way too many models. So when you take all of that into consideration, it is always it's going to be very difficult to be signed. Hopefully you've got Temi Lola that's going to come on and ask us a question. Sorry, please excuse me. Hi, Temi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for answering my last question. When answering it, you mentioned a standard contract. So, what are the different types of contracts and how do they differ between contracts from an agency and contracts from specific jobs?
Okay, are you calling us from the States, America?
Yeah, from Chicago.
From Chicago. Okay, nice to have you on board. Okay, so agency contracts, like I stated earlier, are pretty much standard. All right. So whether you go from an agency in the UK to an agency in New York or Chicago, in London, the terms, give or take some slight variations, are very much the same. All right. Buyout contracts, which I was talking about a few minutes ago, vary considerably. And you really do have to read them to be sure what you're selling, what you're giving away to them. All right. And particularly if you do a job with one of the known brands, you know, if you're doing with a top blue chip company, you really have to check it out. But if you're with an agency, you're okay. If you're by yourself, have it checked out properly so that you're not giving away your image rights for too cheaply. Now, when it comes to smaller photographers, one-off designers, you would tend to find that most of them do not have a contract to give you. All right? They don't have a contract to give you. They don't really care. They're not really into that. They just want you to come, do the job. And as far as all of them are concerned, 9 times out of 10, they believe that if they pay you your money, they own your image rights as they please. So you might sometimes see that you appear on a flyer 1 year later. You're suddenly all over their website. That is not right. If they tell you they are bringing you to do a fashion show and they promote your pictures related to the fashion show, it's fine. But if they then take the pictures and suddenly start using you on a website or on a advert that they're doing for something, that is wrong. All right. So you've got the option of, with each client, to say to yourself, hi, here's a little contract which I've typed up. And a contract is an email. It can just be my terms, guys. I'm going to do this job for you. Please note that my image cannot be used anywhere without my permission. If you need to use it, we can negotiate it. You can only use my image related to this fashion show. You know, you can just type up some basic stuff like that. It doesn't have to be a long stuff. There's also stuff that you can find on the internet nowadays. Freelance contracts, photographers contracts, designers contracts. So if you look at them, you can download them and amend them accordingly. But what I will say is that if you have a conversation with a designer or a photographer and they say things to you verbally, type it all out and say, further to our conversation, this is what we agreed.
Okay.
Once they've acknowledged that email, even if they don't respond, once they've acknowledged the email, particularly for you in the United States of America, where you have a good legal system, it is accepted that they have entered into that contract with you. Because if they then pay you and you do the job, and you can prove that that email was sent prior to you doing the job, the court will accept it as a fact. I'm sure you watched Judge Judy enough times where she says, like I said, it doesn't have to be formalized, it doesn't have to be
Exactly.
a solicitor or anything.
Yeah.
Okay? All right? We
Okay.
good?
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All
Yes.
right, so we're going to go to our next question. There's questions that are pouring in. Sorry, I might have missed some. Let me see. Wari just sent me a question. So my team is working with me because we're trying to make sure we give you everything you want. It says, at Melanie asks, are clients bound to release images to the models after the job? No. I shall repeat that. The question is, Melanie asked, are clients bound to release images to the model after the job? Unless it is in your agreement that the client says they will give you pictures, they do not have to give you pictures. They are paying you to do the job. And once they have paid you to do the job, they are under no obligation whatsoever to give you pictures. So where I see models screaming and shouting, they didn't give me pictures, they didn't give me pictures. I said, were you paid? They say, yes. I said, move on. So if you want to be getting pictures when you do a job, please make sure it's in the agreement before. We're having lots of people from the United States ask us questions. We're having people from UK, London, all over the place. Love Kawe says, what exactly do you look for in a new unsigned model during your open calls? I want something different. Is there something fancy about that person? Can I market you abroad? If I take you in front of a client, is the client going to look at it and say, oh my God, this model is the best girl I've seen ever, or the best guy I've seen ever, and sign you? There's no set rule, everybody. People keep asking me, they keep thinking that you can manipulate the system to get yourself signed. There is no set rule. This is not like going for a job in a bank and you've got interview questions and they're going to ask you about the stock market where there's either a right or a wrong answer. It's about how we feel about you. Do we like your look? Do we like your attitude? Do we think, most importantly, that we can make money for you, which means that we will make money? And that's something that everybody needs to remember, because I get a lot of people complain about agencies when they say, oh, it's all about the agency. It's all about the agency. Guys, this is life. If you do not make money, the agency doesn't make money. So it is in our interest to be extremely selfish and make sure we are finding you work. So I hate it when I hear models say, oh, they don't want to find me work. They don't really like me. Please, I want you to work, because the more you work, the more money you make. The more money you make, the more I can spend on myself, on my team. Me, I like money. I don't know about you. So I want you to have jobs. I want you to have money. Ruth Ibe says, what does a model need to have to be able to get signed? Like, what are the characteristics? I think I've answered that already. There's no real characteristics about whether we like you. You could come to Mahogany, we don't like you. You could go to Few Models and they love you. You could go to Select in Milan and they don't like you. You could go to IMG and they love you. You could go to 10 agencies and nobody likes you. There's no set criteria. So Mary Ann says, do commercial models need to send in Polaroid to get signed? Yes. How can we sign if we don't know what you look like? So either send in Polaroids, or if you can, walk into an agency that has walk-ins, either by appointment or they do it by, they might, sorry, excuse me, specifically invite you in. So, you know, if you get them, just go in. I think I've answered, what exactly do you look for in unsigned models? I've answered Kara's question. I've answered Mary Ann's question. Please, what can you, wait, can you sign me? Edun Habib, send in your pictures and your details. Please, Anthony, these are questions that you can answer. You're on here. Just send in your details, DM us, or however Anthony, our booker, wants you to do it. He will put up a comment in a few seconds about how you can get signed. He's put it there. All right, guys, more questions. Does anybody want to come on and ask their question live? It seems to be that it's all of our people that are calling us from abroad that love to show their faces. I love the girl with sauce from Chicago. You have a lovely look. I don't know how tall you are, but you have a lovely look. I hope you're doing really well out there in Chicago. It's not really known for its modeling, but it's a big city, so there isn't any reason why you should not be able to find work. Sorry, please excuse me. Question. Somebody asked, no, I'm looking for more questions. Do we have more questions? We still got about another 20 minutes, so please send in your questions. I saw My Bookers. I thought he wanted to come on board. It would be great to have My Bookers on board, because My Bookers deals with men, but I think we're going to have him at next week's show. My Bookers has a male-only agency. But not only that, he used to be the head booker for ISIS models. So ladies, he knows how to get you signed. His contacts, his international contacts around the world are amazing. Ruth says, I have vitiligo on some parts of my skin. Can I still be signed by you? Well, we can work with you and see if we can get that sorted out. There are various ways to get that sorted out. I'm not sure what that comment meant by corona. Don't think it was necessary, but anyway, if you talk with us, yes, we can get it sorted out. That's if we sign you. Otherwise, it's good going to see a dermatologist. They can give you a good skin regime on how to get it sorted out, guys. Kumi Karen said, I do not have Polaroids. Can I send random pictures? Yes, send random pictures. You don't have to have professional pictures to get signed. All right, random pictures are okay. The only thing we will tell you is don't send us pictures with you standing next to somebody, and don't send us those Snapchat pictures with bunny rabbits sticking out or smiley faces. I don't understand why models send those pictures in, because when you send those in to us, even if you're a good model, we just delete it because we don't have it means that you're not serious about being a model. Right, Shades of Ife says, what are the right organizations or persons to take your contract to review? Well, if you've got a mentor within the modeling industry, take it to them. Otherwise, I would suggest you take it to an entertainment solicitor. All right, not to any solicitor, an entertainment solicitor, because then they can look at it and they can tell you, they can be sure that you've covered things about your image rights, your buyouts, how you get paid, how long the contract lasts, whether it is legal, there are conditions about when you can leave and when you can't leave and stuff like that. So just look at those sort of stuff. Temi is a bombshell. Sir, somebody asked me a question, sorry. it's too slimmy Billy, I think that is, or too slim Billy. So if someone wanted to add a little detail to their contract, how can we get it done? It's about negotiation. I have to be honest. In the 20 odd years that I've been doing model contracts, I've never allowed anybody to put a term into my contract. Sorry, I'm signing you. You sign under my terms and conditions. If you don't like the contract you see, my suggestion is, and we will say it very freely, you have the right to go to somewhere else. You've got to remember, guys, you don't work for the agency. You're self-employed, okay? It's a contractual basis that we are signing with you. So it's very important that if, for us as the agency, the terms have to be suitable to us, also suitable to you. They can't be legal. Like in the UK, for example, you will find that there are certain conditions and rules and regulations that agencies must follow. So we can't, like in the UK, you can't do exclusive contracts like we do in Africa. To do an exclusive contract with a model, you must guarantee them X amount of money per year. Because what was happening in the UK was that we were signing models to exclusive contracts. We weren't getting them work. And then for 3 years, they couldn't sign with anybody else. So their contract was being, their modeling career was being hampered. So a lot of that has changed. Ruth, I think you had a question. Ruth Ibe, her question is, please, I don't get what you said about my last question, the network. Sorry, you're going to have to ask the question again. Ruth, whatever the question was, please ask it again and we will answer it. Shades of Ife says, if a model is signed on an agency, can they do other personal jobs on their own? Well, this depends on which country you're in. Like I said, abroad, if you're in the UK, yes, you can do freelance work. In Africa, generally, no, you cannot. Because in our contracts for Mahogany Models, it says you must seek our permission to do any type of work, paid or unpaid. All right? So you must, because you see, what the thing is this, Ife. Imagine you've got a model signed to your agency, all right? And the girl decides to go and do a video vixen job, all right? And she's showing off her assets to everybody. And then the next thing is you have a blue chip company like Union Bank that had seen her, wanted to use her for a massive job, massive billboards, campaign. She was going to be everywhere, all over Nigeria. Yes. And the next thing is they're about to sign and somebody says, oh, have you seen that? That was the girl that was in the video vixen job. They're not going to use her anymore. So as agencies, we like to control what you do or what you don't do, so it doesn't affect your career, okay? So that's the reason why we say that if you're signed under an agency, you cannot do personal jobs without our permission. And most times when you want to do a personal job or freelance job, we will decide if it's good for you, and then we will take over the negotiations with you. I mean, we do it all the time. We allow our models to do freelance jobs and stuff like that, but only if it's been agreed for us. So Ogene has said, sir, for someone who has a very big passion for modeling, but don't have the necessary height requirements, what's your advice to take it on? My advice to you, again, is do commercial modeling, do fitness modeling, face modeling, body part modeling. There's other types of modeling that you can do. It's just runway that you can't do, that you have to be 5'9". There's editorials that you can do. All right. So look at other parts of the modeling industry. Google it. If you Google, you'll see everything listed there about all the different types of modeling that you can get involved in. All right. So my suggestion is definitely look at what is available. So Ruth, I did answer your question. You said I have vitiligo on some parts of my skin, all right, which is a double skin color. Can I still be signed by you? Listen, we don't have a problem now. There's a lot of diversity in modeling nowadays. I mean, you've seen the model, the albino, that is very popular. We have models that only have, that don't have all their body parts, that are doing very well. So we can look at you, all right? Send in your pictures. We'll have a look at you. There's no harm in it, because the truth is, abroad, somebody might want to use somebody like you. I mean, we did a post on our Fashion's Finest Africa page. This, I think she's from Sudan. Wari, please put up some details about her because I can't remember the name. She's one of the blackest models in the world, and she's doing amazing. All right. So all you girls that think you have to be light skinned to be a model, forget it. It's not the case, guys. All right. Dark models are doing better than light-skinned models. So all you dark-skinned models that now want to suddenly become light-skinned, I don't understand. When you are the ones that people are looking for. All right? Tubo says, I'm interested in being a model. Can it be possible? Anything is possible. Find an agency that wants to sign you. Send in your pictures to these different agencies and they will sign you. Guys, we've got about another 6 more minutes left or less. Please get your questions in. I'll still do some quick fire questions. Too Slim Billy says, does the agency cover all sorts of modeling or what sorts of modeling are you into? We're primarily into high fashion and commercial modeling. Those are the main ones that we do. But Anthony can drop a quick list of the other areas that we're covering. Anthony, please just cover a quick list for... I think it was Josh Tubo who was it? It was Too Slim Billy that asked what other types of modeling do we do. So please just drop in some information for them to see. Sorry, I'm just trying to see. At Shades, you can't do jobs outside without agency's permission. Thank you for answering that, Anthony. Please, if there's any other questions, Wiry, oh yes, the model that we were talking about, I hope I pronounced her name properly. Thank you, Wiry. Love you loads. Yakim Gortek. She's a Sudanese model born in Ethiopia. Check out our post on Fashion's Finest. She is black. When I say black, I think she's darker than Alit Wek. Absolutely gorgeous model, guys. So please, ladies that are dark skinned, stop trying to become light skinned. It's not what is in, okay? I haven't seen any agency yet. Could you please suggest one for me? I don't know what you look like. There's loads of agencies. What country are you in, Just Tubo? So I know where to direct you. Because we have people from all over the world, so I don't want to assume you're Nigerian. Okay? Wari, thank you for that. You're a superstar. I trust you. Anthony, great job you guys are doing, putting all the stuff together for me. Right, what else is there? Any other questions? I haven't seen the agency. Oh, you're in Nigeria, Just Tubo. Okay, if you're in Nigeria, I'm assuming you're female. If you're female, there's Beth, there's, guys, you might have to help me out here. You know I'm terrible with all the names. There's Beth, there's Hugh, there's Shades of Hugh, there's Nana's agency. Hey, Nana will kill me. What's Nana's agency's name again? God, I'm so bad. I'm really getting old. There's Mahogany Models. You're male. If you're male, you want to look at My Bookers. Nearly all the agencies, I think, bar a few, take on male models. Please, somebody tell me, what is Nana's agency's name? She's going to kill me, and I can't check my phone. Please. IK, are you here? Your agency name. But there's so many good agencies out there. If you do a Google search, you'll find a lot of the agencies. Go on to Instagram. You'll find a lot of the agencies. So please go looking for them. We're coming very close to finishing the session. Sharon Hillary says, I'm 17 years old. I've seen a lot of opportunities to be a model, but I've got parent approval issues. What can I do? Okay, I'm going to be very upfront with you. Unless you go to a unreputable, thank you, Zane Models, Anthony. Hey, Zane Models, top agency. Nana will kill me. Nana, I apologize in case you watch this or IK. It was a brain disappearance. So going back to Sharon Hillary, okay? We will not sign you, and any reputable agency will not sign you without your parents' permission until you're 18, okay? It is the law. You have to be 18 to enter into a legal contract. My Gege, thank you, dear. Zane, they go kill me for this one. And Wire, thank you for telling me. All right. You have to be 18 to get signed into a mulling, to enter into any legal contract. Okay, guys? So please note that. Well, my time is coming to an end. I hope you found this interesting. You've been able to learn about buyouts. You've been able to learn about what are some of the key things that you have into the contract. You've had a magazine, a model that is in the United States that says he's ready to give you free publicity to feature you in his magazine. You've had people from Chicago, people from London, people from Ghana, other places, all parts of Africa come on board. This is every single week. This gets bigger and bigger. Spread the news. Tell your friends. Guys, it's only Mr. Mahogany Model Management, that will tell you the truth. We're neutral. We don't care whether you're with whatever agency or you're not with an agency. We will give you the truth as it is. We will help you where we can. You know, we're here for you. So please send us your messages. Keep joining us. We're here every single Wednesday, 7 o'clock. The Model Boardroom. Why we call it the Model Boardroom is for you to come and get your question answered. And as your chairman, whatever, I must answer you, the shareholders, your questions. And that's what we're here for. So I want to say thank you for joining us. Make it a date next week, Wednesday, at Mahogany Models at 7 p.m. We'll be ready to answer your question. Also, join me live tomorrow. Tomorrow's session at Fashion's Finest Africa, I am going to have the amazing, the biggest, one of the best designers in Africa, David Talley. I'm sure you've seen him at New York Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, GT Bank Fashion Week, Lagos Fashion and Design Week. He has been anywhere and everywhere. He is one of the biggest designers ever. He's going to be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Fashion Finest Africa. Come on board, see David Talley all the way from South Africa. And David doesn't hold back. He is going to tell you as it is. All right? So even as a model, you need to come on, you need to listen to him, because he might see a model that he likes. That's David for you. David sometimes looks at people's profiles. He goes there and says, God, Shola, I want that model. I want to use her. Send her to me in South Africa. All right? I want to use her. That's the kind of person that he is. All right? So please join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And his topic is the gospel of fashion design, according, of course, to David Talley. On Tuesdays, every Tuesdays, we're on True Talk with Mahogany International, where we talk about everything event. And this Tuesday is going to be great. Guys, I'm sure some of you know about DJ Crowd Controller, one of the biggest DJs in Africa. He is going to be with us on Tuesday, Mahogany International. We are attracting the best guests there are from all over the world. All right? Not just Nigeria. We're attracting people from everywhere. You can see our guests are from all over the world. So everybody, I'd like to thank you all for being with us tonight. Have a lovely evening. Take good care of yourself. Guys, COVID-19 is real. Please stay safe. Wear your face mask. Clean your hands all the time. Be safe out there. All right? We'll see you again tomorrow or next week, guys. Thank you so much. Take care now.